Christmas is a time that's filled with love and family. What about ghosts? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new or not yet subscribed, I'm Brittany. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and let's dive into some spooky encounters on Christmas. The first, we have the legend of the mistletoe bride. This legend has been retold for centuries. And because it's been retold so many times, that no one really knows its exact origin. Well, it's believed that it can be traced back to the disappearance of Lord Lavelle's bride at Bramshill House in Hampshire, England. It's said that Lord Lavelle was getting ready to marry his lovely bride that was related to Sir John Cope, who owned the Bramshill House. This was around Christmas time, so mistletoe was hung all throughout the mansion, and this inspired the wedding party to play a game. So the bride would hide, and the groomsmen would go and try to find her. Whoever found her first would get to kiss her. Kind of an odd game, because usually groomsmen are the ones that are the closest to the groom, so they're either going to be the brother, the cousin, best friend, and that's gonna be his wife. A little odd, but anyways, they went and they decided to play. The bride goes and she hides, and the groomsmen start to look. So they're searching all around. Minutes turn into hours, and there's no trace of her anywhere. No matter where they looked, they couldn't find her. It wasn't until 50 years later, when Lord Laval who was still looking for answers to his missing bride, would happen upon a secret closet at the Bramshill House. He'd go into this closet and he'd find a hidden chest that was sealed closed by a lock. And when he opened it, he would find his very unrecognizable remains of his bride. I can't imagine that feeling of opening that, and I mean, he got the answers, but it's so horrible. Next, we have the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Back in the 1700s, Charles Townshend had married a young woman by the name of Dorothy Walpole, and they lived pretty happily together for a while in Raynham Hall. And, you know, Townshend would start to think his wife was being unfaithful to him. So he decided that he would hide her away in the house. And he'd go even a step further to tell all of their friends and family that she had tragically passed, demented. But Dorothy was forced to stay inside of the mansion, and she was only allowed to wander through it. So, I mean, I guess on the bright side, she wasn't locked in one room, but yeah, that would drive anybody insane. Not long after, she would pass. And ever since she had passed, people have witnessed a woman in a tattered brown dress wandering through the halls. And some of these encounters are truly horrifying. One visitor who had no idea about this legend and these encounters had actually approached the woman in the hall, only to have her look at him with a glowing face. But where her eyes were, there were just empty sockets. Sounds like a nightmare. Years later, there, were obviously a lot of different sightings of her. And a photographer of Country Life magazine had visited Raynham Hall for his article. They had taken a picture of the central stairway. And as he was looking through the images, he saw that one of the images contained this hazy silhouette that many believe is the Brown Lady, otherwise known as Dorothy Walpole. Then we have the next one. It said that the Starks had left behind a number of spirits that are now haunting a Victorian home in Leadington. One of these spirits is Vera Stark, and she was well known in life for she's quite eccentric, and she is still eccentric in the afterlife. People who have seen her spirit say that she is only wearing a fur coat while picking flowers, just as she did when she was alive. Good for her. Then there's also another spirit that is one of the Starks' daughters who had suffered this terrible accident in the mansion's gymnasium. And she can allegedly be seen walking through the halls of the home. The current owners of the mansion have attempted to open it up to historical tours. But every time they do, they run into issues. They said, quote, "Our spirits did not care for it to be open to the public and went wild." Then we have an account on Christmas in 1978 by a man named Edward F. Smith. He was at his home in Brooklyn, New York, when the doorbell rang. He would answer the door, but no one was there. And this soon became a nightly occurrence. The doorbell would ring, Smith would go to the door, and no one, not even any sign that anybody had been there. Obviously, he got frustrated, so he decided to sprinkle ash and flour along the path of the door, expecting there to be something, footprints, like little marks, something, right? But it would be left undisturbed, even though the noises would continue. And wherever him and his family were in the house, they would still hear the doorbell ring. Smith and his family started to get more and more concerned because it started with the doorbell ringing and then it led to aggressive banging on the doors. So they were scared and they called the police. The ringing and the banging would continue and no one would be able to find a source. One night, a brick would fly through the window from outside, even though police officers were there and they didn't see anyone. The police would investigate the home for some time and they still had no answers to what was going on. So it was marked paranormal. Then we have Roos Hall. So Roos Hall is a mansion in the English countryside, and it's rumored to be one of the most haunted places in England. It's located just outside of a small town called Beccles in the country of Suffolk. And the mansion has accumulated quite a history of ghost stories since it was built in the 16th century. One of the most horrifying stories consists of a headless horseman. Now, there's headless horsemen. Like, there's not just one headless horseman. I feel like the most popular headless horseman is the one in Sleepy Hollow, the legend of Sleepy Hollow. There's a headless horseman. And I feel like that is the most popular one. But there are other ones. So numerous people have reported at Roos Hall a man on a horse riding towards them on the road. But there's one thing. He has no head. It said on Christmas Eve, the headless man is often seen clattering down the driveway with his phantom coach and 4 horses. Other legends say that there are these strange markings inside the hall that are known as devil's footprints. And some have even reported seeing a girl watching from the windows. Last, we have the story of Sir Geoffrey de Mandeville. He held the title of Earl of Essex, and he was this prestigious European landowner in the 1100s. Because of his title, he had a lot of influence over royal politics at the time. However, when a debate emerged that regarded the rightful heir to the throne, he ended up choosing the losing side, and this had stripped him of his assets and excommunicated him from the church. Oh, he's a guy. During the excommunication, Sir Geoffrey was slain on the battlefield, and because of his exile, he was not allowed a proper Christian interment, which is believed to have trapped him on Earth. Rumor has it that Sir Geoffrey also left a curse on the properties that he owned, saying that if it should ever be taken away from him, ruin would befall his betrayer. Every 6 years on Christmas Eve, Sir Geoffrey and a headless dog would haunt the land draped in a red cloak since he was killed. People who have visited the properties that he once owned, specifically the Pimsbrook Bridge in East Barnet, have reported hearing strange sounds and witnessing the hazy image of a headless dog breaking through the fog, accompanied by a knight in full armor and a red cloak. Let me know if you guys have ever had any encounters in any of these places, or if you have had any spooky encounters yourself. If you have, you can go ahead and email me at brittanybrierghosts@gmail.com. I would love to hear your stories. Let me know what you guys think about all of these ones in the comments down below. Make sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and until my next video, I love you guys. Bye.